Hey Marietta, so we back with Harley. Let's continue. Hers looks at him and gives the sign of long-suffering parents dealing with a toddler. You can get the tray when you want it, he says. I believe we established that. I'm not eating it. I already told your wife. Besides being raw, it's been sitting at room temperature for, he looks at his pappy watch, over 6 hours. The crazy professor makes no reply to this, only climbs the steps. The door shuts. The bolt runs. Snap. It's 10 o'clock by Poppy watch from when Emily came down. She swaps the trim brown pants for a floral wrapper and her own pair of slippers. Can't it be the next night, George thinks. Is that possible? How long did they shot put me out? Somehow the loss of time is even more upsetting than looking at the congealed blob of meat. Losing time is hard to get used to, but there's something else he can't get used to. She looked at the tray, look at him, smiles, turns to go. Hey, he say, Emily. She doesn't turn around, but she stops at the foot of the steps listening. I need some water. I drank one bottle and used the other to mix that shake with. It was pretty good, by the way. No more water until you eat your dinner, she says, and climbs the steps. Time passes 4 hours. His thirst is becoming very bad. He's not dying of it or anything, but there's no doubt he's dehydrated from vomiting in that shake. He can feel it coating the sides of his throat. A drink of water will wash that away, even just a sip or two. He looked at the porta john, but he's a long way from trying to drink disinfectant water, which I had now pissed in twice, he thinks. He looks up at the lens. Let's talk, okay, please. He hesitates, then says, I'm begging you. He hears a crack in his voice. A dry crack, nothing. 2 more hours. Now the thirst is all he can think about. He read stories about how men adrift on the ocean finally start drinking what they're floating on, even though drinking seawater is a quick trip to madness. That's the story anyway. And whether it's true or false doesn't matter in his current situation, because there's no ocean for almost 1,000 miles. There is nothing here but the poison in that porta john. At last, George gives in. He works his finger under the flaps, props himself on one arm, and reaches for the tray. At first, he can't quite grasp it because the edge is slippery with juice. Instead of pulling it towards him, he only succeeds in pushing it a little further out on the concrete. He strains and finally pinches a grip. He pulls the tray through the flap. He looks at the meat, as red as raw mussels, then closes his eyes and picks it up. It flops against the wrist, cold. Eyes still closed, he takes a bite. His gorge started to spasm. Don't think about it, he tells himself. Just chew and swallow. It goes down like a raw oyster or a mouthful of phlegm. He opened his eyes and looked up at the glass lens. It's blurry because he's crying. Is that enough? Nothing. And it really wasn't a bite, only a nibble. There's so much left. Why? He shouted. Why would you? What purpose? Nothing. Maybe there's no speaker, but George doesn't believe that. He thinks they can hear him as well as he sees them. And if they can hear him, they can reply. I can't, he said, crying harder. I would if I could, but I fucking can't. Yet he discovered that he can. Bite by bite, he eats the raw liver. The gag reflects as bad at first, but eventually it goes away. Only that's not right, George thinks as he looked at the puddle of congealing red jelly on the otherwise empty plate. It didn't go away. I beat it into submission. He holds the plate up to the glass eye. At first there's more nothings. Then the door to the upstairs whirled open and the woman descended. Her hair is in rollers. There is some sort of night cream on her face. In one hand she holds a bottle of Dasani water. She puts it down on the concrete, out of George's reach, then grabs the broom. Drink the juice, she say. Please, George whispered. Please don't. Please stop. Professor Emily Hurst of the English department, perhaps now emerita, just teaching an occasional class or seminar as well as attending departmental meetings, says nothing. The calm in her eyes is for George, the convincer. It's like the old blues song say, crying and pleading don't do you no good. He tilts the plate and slides the jelly juice into his mouth. A few drops splash onto his shirt, but most of the blood goes down his throat. It's salty and makes his thirst worse. He shows her the plate. Empty herself for a few red smears. He expects her to tell him to eat that, too, to scoop it up with his fingers and suck it like a lollipop, but she doesn't. She tips the bottle of Dosiki on its side and pushes the broom to roll it to the flapping through. George sees it up, twists the cap, and drank half in a series of glumps. Ecstasy. She leaned the broom back against the side of the stairs and stars up. What do you want? Tell me what you want and I'll do it. Swear to God. She paused for a moment, long enough to say a single word. Maricon. Then she continues up the stairs. The door shut, the lock snapped. And I'll be back with Stephen King, Harley. Bye, my reactors.